turn it up so James could hear me correctly. So it was lots of fun and games, but do listen, it's great information. And one of the things that everybody looks forward to when they go to the Caribbean is going on the beach. So James is now going to tell us what the beaches are like.
Well, the beaches are amazing, actually. I mean, Nevis is quite unique because it's a volcanic island. Normally with a volcanic island, you just get black sand. But in fact, in Nevis, we get both, black and white. On the west coast of the island, you get fantastic golden white sand. And on the eastern coast, it's a little darker, but it's still really nice beaches. But you get a lovely mix between the Caribbean side and the Atlantic side, where you get absolutely beautiful, still calm sea on the Caribbean side. On the west coast, you get a fantastic sunset. And for those of you who like a bit of surfing or a bit of a rougher sea, you've got proper waves on the other side. So we've got the best of both worlds. In fact, on the west coast beaches, on Paradise Beach where we are, you've got the sunset, and you've also got the island of St. Kitts in the distance, which isn't actually that far a distance. It's only 2.5 miles away, but it means that you've actually got something to look at. Really, really picturesque.
My favourite holiday pastime is food and eating. Now, what's the food like there, and do they have a national dish?
Well, it's funny because I'm not sure whether they have a national dish as such, but I mean, they do have local Caribbean food, which is amazing. I mean, one of my favourite restaurants is a restaurant called Bananas, and there's a local dish that they call goat water, which sounds horrible, but in actual fact, it's stew made of goat, and it's absolutely delicious. It has things like star anise in there, and it's got lots of Caribbean flavours come through. And if I was going to think of any sort of local dish that would really sort of encapsulate the Caribbean, it would be an amazing goat water. And everywhere I go, if they cook Caribbean food where they do things like that and all the usual sort of normal Caribbean dishes, the one thing I would always single out is goat water. Because if someone makes you a good goat water, everything else will be fantastic.
Apart from lazing around on a beach, what else can a tourist see and do while they're there?
Well, Nevis, it's all basically natural stuff that you're going to get in Nevis because it hasn't got, an Alton Towers type of stuff. It's really a very, very beautiful island destination. And there are set things you can do, but funny enough, whenever anybody asks you what you can do on island, everybody sort of ignores the fact that actually just being there is a real treat in itself. Charlestown, incredibly beautiful and historic town. I think people forget about the history of the Caribbean quite often, and you get very, very different experience from different islands. With Charlestown, because Nevis and St. Kitts are both incredibly wealthy in their time, a lot of the construction actually in the towns is actually made of stone rather than kind of shanty stuff, which means that you've actually got beautiful, beautiful stone buildings, some of which have got Portland stone on them even, because the ships, when they came over to the Caribbean, put stone in their ballast so that they could then load up when on their way home, and that stone stayed on the island, which they used as building materials. So we've got a lot of beautiful local architects, and just walking around the town itself is a treat. Having said that, if you wanted to checklist off all the other things that you'd normally expect to hear as a touristy type of thing, we've got a turtle group, because we get lots of loggerhead turtles that come to the island, and they protect them. So there's a group that collects those, and you can go and meet them and see some turtles that they'll rescue. It's a volcanic island, so we have hot springs, and there's, as I said, some of this fantastic architecture. One of them is the Charlestown Bath Hotel, which is an absolutely beautiful and very historic hotel, and it's actually got a hot springs bath at the bottom of it. And the locals actually, to this day, use it. I don't quite know how they manage it. I tried it, and it was so hot I could barely get my foot in. It's got a rainforest and a volcano, and there are walks that you can do up the volcano. I've done that. It's really hard work, but when you get to the top, it's amazing. The view is stunning, and, you've walked up to the top of a volcano. On your way, your guide will tell you about all of the different plants and the homeopathic recipes that you can get. The trumpet plant that they use locally as a cure for colds. There are wild bees. I mean, there's a lot to see. It's a proper jungle. It's not made up, and the locals have been using the stuff from the jungle as medicines all the time they've been there. It's passed down. So much so that they get sarsaparilla sarsaparilla, which they make drinks from. You get lots of cinnamon on island. There's even an area in Nevis called Gingerland, so the clue is in the name what you can get from there. So in addition to that back to nature stuff, you also get sport. You get horse riding. We do horse riding up and down our beach in Paradise Beach, and that's absolutely beautiful because you get the sunrise or you can get the sunset depending on which one you want to ride, and the horses will just ride through the wake. It's a really, really beautiful experience. I've done it myself. We've got fishing competition in October, a wily fishing competition. A lot of people come from all over the world for that because between St. Kitts and Nevis is the Narrows, and you get a wahoo run through there every year. And that's in October, and they catch an inordinate amount of fish, and it's very, very social, and everybody has a really good time. You don't need to be a fisherman to do that. You just have a good time. We also have a swim every year between St. Kitts and Nevis. It's only 2.5-mile swim, which would be a long way for me, but for a proper swimmer, that's fine, and we get lots of people do that. There's a running festival in September. We have a triathlon in November. Got a horse racing circuit. We've got a drag racing track, believe it or not, for such a small place. I can't remember who built it, but people come from all over the Caribbean with their cars on boats to race on this drag track. So there's quite a lot of sporty things. We've also got a lot of history because, as I said, these islands were incredibly wealthy during the sugar trade and owned by various countries. France owned St. Kitts and Nevis as a clue. France and England were both on St. Kitts at the same time at one stage, and all of these countries were vying to actually have the islands because they generated so much wealth. So Horatio Nelson, for instance, he used to come along and married a local girl, Frances Nisbet, and he used to keep coming to and fro to see his wife. We've got the Jewish cemetery that was founded in I think 1769 from memory, which is fascinating because they were the first people to come over and start the sugar trade. Alexander Hamilton, of course, he desperately needs a mention because he's the first president of the United States in 1757, and there's a very, very successful Broadway show about him right now. And there's obviously the Hamilton estates, which relate back to the family. So there's lots. There's absolutely lots and lots and lots to do. I mean, apart from that, you could just go down to the beach and see all of the wonderful beach bars that are run by, genuine locals. None of the beach bars are kind of run by expats or branded entities. You don't have any kind of Soho house on the beach. It's literally genuine, authentic, local people, local food, Carib beer, or fantastic cocktails. I mean, one of the most famous beach bars in the world run by a chap called Sunshine, and it's called Sunshine, strangely enough, and his signature drink is called Killer Bee, and it doesn't taste at all alcoholic, but you have 2 of those, and that's it. You're done. And as they say, you've been stung by the bee, is what they say. You can always see someone heading that way because they're very, very drinkable.
Mm-hmm.
So lots to do.
The drag strip really surprised me. I didn't expect you to say something like that.
I know, it's bizarre, isn't it?
It is.
Hey Dave, it's your round, mate.
Yeah, my throat's drier than the Gobi Desert.
All right. Beers all round, yeah? OK, which one of you jokers has got my wallet?
Well, I haven't got it. God, he'll do anything to save a few quid.
Yeah, that's right. He's always had short arms and long pockets.
Seriously, guys, someone's nicked it from my bag.
If you lose your wallet, passport or tickets while you're on holiday, your mates winding you up will be the least of your worries. Keep your valuable stuff locked up safely when you don't need it. And if you're on the beach or by the pool, only take the cash you need.
For more information, go to gov.uk/knowbeforeyougo or follow us on Facebook or Twitter.
You're listening to The Travel Show with John Guinn on ukhealthradio.com. Still to come on the show, there'll be some travel news, which I promise we won't mention the runway at Heathrow. I know I said I wasn't going to talk about Heathrow during the show. In the last half hour or so, I said the word Heathrow quite often. I'm sorry about that, but there'll be nothing about the runway decision at the end of the show. Next week's show, I'm not promising anything, but this week is going to be a Heathrow runway free. My guest James Cabourne has been talking to us about Nevis, the Caribbean island, what to see, what to do, how to get there. James owns a resort called Paradise Beach Nevis, and that's what we're going to find out now. When you think about going on holiday to the Caribbean, you might be thinking of a huge all-inclusive resort. Well, is that what Paradise Beach Nevis is like? We're going to find out now.
So an all-inclusive resort is the antithesis of what Paradise Beach is. Paradise Beach Resort is basically a small collection of very large, high-end luxury villas, and you can basically have them self-catering, or you can have them with chefs coming in. I mean, it's really completely up to you. Each one of the villas, we basically have a personal concierge butler who will come and see you as often as you like, arrange anything you want. If you wanted a car hire, you wanted to ride on the beach, or if you wanted to have a great big fish to cook for your dinner, or anything you wanted, they would organise for you. And so it's nothing like an all-in-one. I mean, we have our own beach bar, which is private, and our beach, although none of the beaches are actually private in Nevis, like any island, our beach is remarkably private because you can only really access it from one end, and you've got to walk quite a way to get to us. So, in essence, you have a completely private beach with a completely private beach bar. We don't let locals in there. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we have a beautiful reception building, and each one of these villas is walled, which means that you have total privacy. I mean, what we really sell on the resort is luxury, privacy, and discretion. So we get quite a few famous people who turn up. Nobody knows they've been, and they have a really nice time, and they go away again. Pretty much like Lady Di used to do in her day when she came over. It's not, we're not super bling. It's kind of, how would I describe it? I mean, I think when I designed the beach bar with Naomi Cleaver, who's one of the interior designers that we use, we wanted it to be sort of ethereal and spa-like, rather than steel drums and lots of banging noise. Mm-hmm. You can imagine that. Oh, one of the other things I should mention, actually, because when you're sort of describing accommodation, it can sound a bit stark. But in actual fact, one thing that we do at Paradise Beach that we pride ourselves on is that, once we've actually got you in our clutches, so to speak, we really like to try and make sure your experience is holistically nice as possible. And that even extends to when you are picked up from the airport, and we pick you up specifically from the airport, and we take you a certain route, and then we get you a water taxi over, which once you've actually done got off the plane, even getting to Paradise Beach is a delight, because you get on a water taxi and you'll have flying fish coursing through the water. You get this amazing view of the island of Nevis with the volcano and the beaches and the rainforest going up there. And then when you actually get to us, we have these wonderful electric gates. They're never locked. They're literally there just so that you can just stop and wait, and then it opens a bit like when you go to the theatre, and you have this fantastic granite road with a lovely palm tree avenue leading down to the resort. And all of our gardens are specifically and architecturally planted, and they're planted to attract hummingbirds and also for evening scent. So you get this amazing smell. And also, as you're wandering around in the day, you see lots and lots of hummingbirds. Of course, we also get monkeys, which we all love to see too, and turtles on the beach. So we're very, very eco, and we actually encourage wildlife, and we encourage fauna. Probably our largest group of employees is landscapers, actually, so that everything is beautiful. It doesn't get onto Paradise Beach unless it's beautiful. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the motto.
Oh dear, I won't get on the beach then. Never mind.
Don't worry, we'll cover you up.
Definitely need that.
Don't worry, I'm in the covering up department too.
It sounds absolutely idyllic, and I'm just trying to picture it as you were describing it. And it definitely sounds much better than getting on a coach with a load of other people and going down a bumpy road and getting into a large hotel.
It's nothing like that. I mean, the thing about Paradise Beach is that it can be as much or it can be as little as you like. I mean, if you were an author, for instance, and you wanted to come away and you wanted to write a book, you could sit around your pool, you could get a fantastic sunset, you could be tapping away on your computer, and you wouldn't need to see anybody if you didn't want to. You could just sneak down to the bar in the evening, have a rum punch, go back, nobody would bother you, it's fine. If, on the other hand, you wanted to do yoga or gym stuff, you could go down. So we do yoga classes on the beach. You could join in all of those. You can have a personal trainer sent to your villa